Hi there. Hi. Hello from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Been here all weekend. Today is... what day is today? Today is Monday. Mildly chilly. Nothing that this Michigan boy can't handle. Okay, so today is Monday. Been here since Wednesday. Came here to do some online poker streaming. And I don't know if you guys know this, you may or may not be aware of this, but the international player pool and the regulated player pool in the US, two separate player pools. In order to play with people that are, for example, here in Canada, gotta take a trip, gotta get outside of US borders, and as it turns out, Calgary is outside of US borders. All right, so I came up here. I chose Calgary because rentals a little bit cheaper than, say, Vancouver. Only a 2-hour flight from Las Vegas to get up here to Calgary. 1 hour time zone difference, and more important than that, my buddy Kevin Martin is here. And I think if you're gonna do 4 straight days of online poker streaming when you are not exactly a specialist in that arena, good to have someone who is a specialist in the neighborhood. So got to spend a little bit of time with Kevin Martin while I was here, and yeah, had this little online poker experiment. I'd say the experiment went mostly well. There were for sure some technical difficulties along the way, some dropped connections here and there. Aside from that, it was a pretty cool experiment though, I think. I held some version of what was an online meetup game. We called it Andrew's Home Game Bounty Event. We got 90 people together for that, into that event, and it was only a $5 event, $500 guaranteed. Had people from, several different countries around the world, and it turned out to be pretty cool, I thought.
Andrew Neeme's Home Game Bounty Event. I'm gonna play every hand, maybe. All right, we got a 3-bet. I didn't come to fold. I didn't come all this way to fold the 3 bets. We're gonna flop 2 pair here, top and bottom. Predicted check raise coming. All right, Noah, this is your chance. This is your chance at the bounty. I raise. We have an all-in situation. My second hand at the table. Good luck to you, Noah. Hope my hand holds versus ace king. Oh no, it does not hold versus ace king. Brutal. All right, Noah, congratulations. You get the bounty. I don't see how I can just quit after that.
My first time doing something like that, and I would for sure love to come back and do it, make it a proper meetup game online with my co-host Brad Owen, get him into the mix, and plan it a little bit further out, announce it, get as many people in there as possible. But, first time, it was cool. I think it was a fun experiment to do, to try it out, and to get 90 people in there, to meet the guarantee. Couldn't ask for too much more, I don't think. But that was this past weekend. Today is now, the weekend's behind us. I'm here in Calgary. I got one more night before I fly back to Vegas tomorrow. So I am going to look for 2 things. 1, a pint of beer. 2, a poker game. Let's see if we can find both. I have been doing a lot of traveling this month, and as a result of that, I happened to miss 1 or 2 of the biggest weekends for Las Vegas gambling action, poker action. That is the March Madness weekends, but I think that's okay. I think I mentioned before that one of my favorite things about this whole poker lifestyle is being able to play poker in other locations. Keeps it fresh for me. I love traveling in general, and even though it's been a lot this first half of the year so far, it's definitely been a lot, maybe even towing the line, approaching burnout. But still happy to do it, and the window for doing this sort of a weekend was a little bit on the narrow side. Lots of weekends taken up by things like meetup games and traveling for various reasons. So had to get out when we could, make it happen. Came out this weekend and did it. But love checking out new cities. Never been here to Calgary. This is my first time. And always fun to go play poker in a new location other than the one that I've been living in for the past 10 years.
Hey, for Andrew.
All right, guys, we have made our way to Pure Casino here in Calgary. Northern Calgary, maybe? Or just Calgary. Outside of downtown, though. Tonight they're running 1-2 no limit, and then they're running 1-2-5 PLO and 10-25 PLO. I didn't bring enough money for the 10-25 PLO, and the 1-2 is a little small. So I think 1-2-5 PLO is going to be the game. I actually did play a couple nights ago at a casino called Cowboys. That's properly downtown and basically right across from the arena where the Calgary Flames play. I played 1-2 over there for a little while before moving over to the 2-5. I did book a win of $180 Canadian. So far so good here in Canada, but we'll see what happens tonight. So every time I play PLO, I am reminded about two things. A, it can be extremely fun or extremely frustrating. And B, a little bit more consistently, I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. There are so many spots that come up where I'm just really not sure what to do. And sure, those spots come up occasionally when I'm playing no limit. They're a lot more few and far between when I'm just really in no man's land and not sure what to do. PLO, it happens like every other hand or something. I'm actually just wrapping up the session here and about to head back to the Airbnb before flying back to Vegas tomorrow. There are a couple hands I can give you, but by giving you, I can just basically tell you what happened and what I did. Not exactly going to be able to share much in the way of analysis and or advice or really anything of value, but I do know how much you guys like hands, so here's a couple hands of note. Pretty interesting game. It's playing pretty big. There's no max buy-in on the 1-2-5 PLO, and it's straddled almost every hand at least once. So that means it's 1-2-5-10 uncapped, and there's 3 of those games going when I arrived. They seem to like the PLO here at, what the hell is this place called? Pure Casino. They seem to like the PLO over here. Anyway, this hand, 1-2-5-10. I look down at king, king, queen, queen with 1 suit and make it 30 to go, and I get 4 calls. Flop is jack 10-3 with 2 clubs. We check it over to the button. He puts out a bet of $155. There's 1 caller before me, and I want to call here with the open ender, even though there's 2 clubs on board. Turn is a brick. We check it over to the button again, who jams all in for 190. Player before me calls. Price is way too good, I think, to fold, so I make the call again. River's a brick. Player before me checks, I check it, and the button shows us king 10-10 rag for a flopped middle set. Had him pretty crushed there pre-flop, but he's able to get there, and he didn't have any clubs, but have to imagine maybe the other player had some clubs. But we were drawing live probably to the 2 oversets as well as the open ender, as long as it wasn't a club. This next hand is one of those ones where I'm really not sure what to do, what's best. Again, playing 1-2-5-10 here. $10 is on the button. I look down at pocket aces, ace, ace, jack 8 with 1 suit. I go ahead and make it $35. Middle position player calls and the button calls. Flop is queen 10-9 with 2 diamonds and 1 spade. So we flop the second nuts here. I'm gonna go ahead and bet, and it's probably gonna be a bet fold. I wouldn't expect any player to get 2 out of line on this flop, so I think we could probably comfortably fold if we do get raised. So I bet $80, and both players flat call. Turns to 7 of spades, which brings a second flush draw on board. Now feeling a little bit more confident about the second nuts, I'm just gonna go ahead and pot it here. The player in middle position folds, and the player on the button calls. It's gonna be a pretty tough decision on the river because there's gonna be so many cards that change the dynamics of the board. 2 flush draws on board, and we don't want to see it pair either. The river's a 9, so the board does pair. I check it over to him, and my opponent pretty confidently bets about $350. Of course, it's not really that much money, so I feel like we're just gonna have to try and make a read here. Player's a little bit older of a gentleman, and the way he bet just seemed pretty confident. I don't know, honestly, not sure what's best here. We don't block any flush draws, so I feel like maybe we should be calling. It's also not that sizable of a bet, but it's about my entire stack. So I feel like he was just wagering enough to put me all in. Let me know what you guys think, what's best in this spot in particular. I'll let you know what I did at the end of these hands. Go ahead and pause the video, leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your guesses as to what's best here. I can tell you what I did, and again, no idea if what I did is the right thing or not. So we'll see what you guys think. One more hand, again playing 1, 2, 5, 10 here. Action starts in the small blind, who makes the call. The big blind raises it to $30. We look down at king, king, queen, jack with no suits, which isn't really that great of a hand considering there's no suits, but the player in the big blind had been playing a lot of hands. Kind of want to try and ISO him here, which again, not sure if that's ideal looking back. Maybe just play it a little bit slower, try and flop a set over set somebody. I don't know. I decided to try and ISO this guy who had been getting a little bit out of line, I felt like. So I put in a 3-bet to 110. The button cold calls and the big blind calls. The flop is 7-4 deuce rainbow. The big blind checks. I don't really have that much more money left. I only have like $225, so I go ahead and stick it in there. The button doesn't think for too long before making the call, and the big blind folds. So we're off to the races here. Turn is a 3 of diamonds. River is a 7 of diamonds. I go ahead and show the kings, and my opponent shows us 8-8, 7-5. That's gonna be good for river trips, and that's gonna be all she wrote for me. Yeah, lose a bunch of money playing PLO tonight. We won a couple hands along the way, but lost more hands than we won. Got into the game for 1,200, I believe. Lost it all. Lost all of that money. In that other hand, I ended up folding. I ended up check folding, but I'm not too sure if that's ideal. Again, I tried to make a live read. Maybe it was right, maybe it was wrong. Be interested to hear what you guys have to say. And I also feel like I maybe shouldn't play PLO until I get some more lessons. But wanted to come out, didn't really want to play 1-2, wanted to get a little more sense of the poker action here in Calgary. If you play PLO, there's plenty of action to be found, that's for sure. Hopefully you know a little bit more about the game than I do, even though I enjoy it. But yeah, will I stop playing it? Probably not.